Welcome to UpAtNightPodcast. I'm Tony.
And I'm Borden.
Borden lost a few inches in a tragic boating accident.
Gained a couple somewhere else, you know what I'm saying?
What? All right, so back at the show now. We missed last week thanks to our recording of our first gameplay, or Let's Play video. Second of which will be going up soon. If you're watching this on Friday, it should be going up on the following Monday.
Hopefully.
If you haven't watched the first episode, it's still on the channel. Emily wants to play. We have a good time getting our...
ass handed to us.
Getting our ass handed to us by some creepy girls' little toys. God, that game.
Title of my sex tape.
That game was title of your sex tape. Exactly. God, that game is fucking hilarious, but it's also terrifying at the same time.
It's a little bit better now. Like our sequels.
The second playthrough will be a lot not funnier.
We're more competent. We got our shit together.
The second one, we definitely figured it. Like we had some help and we figured it out. But anyway, so if you haven't checked that out yet, go check that out on the channel, on our UpAtNightPodcast channel as well. It's already up there, and then number 2 will be up there, and we're going to figure out playing some more games later on. Anyway, we'll get this show rolling. First topic we're going to talk about today is the announcement that actually just happened today. Nintendo, of all people, announced that they're going to be putting out a miniature NES console that comes preloaded with like 30 classic Nintendo games. And I was looking at the list of games. It's not like
the bad ones.
Here's the shit games. It's like Legend of Zelda 2, all of the Super Mario Bros. Games, like fucking
Duck Hunter?
Yeah, no, I didn't see Duck Hunt, but like Pac-Man and fucking... I think
Sonic the Hedgehog.
The first Final Fantasy, that'd be hilarious. The first Final Fantasy, Kid Icarus, like all of these titles, like
AAA titles now.
AAA titles from Nintendo, and I was kind of taken aback, and like it comes with, I think, like an actual adapter. It's like a real NES controller. I don't think it's like an original NES controller, but like it's like the equivalent of like a plug-in for like a real NES controller. Like it looks.
Now, is there a price on this? Because I didn't see a price on it.
I haven't yet. I'm not sure when they're going up as far as I can't see this thing being more than like
$100.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, like $100.
I'm buying it.
I will probably buy it too. Why not? I wonder if it's gonna output with like an HDMI, or if they're even gonna.
That would be sweet. They'd have to
run these games at 60 frames per second. You can't even like.
The game's just jolting past the screen so quick
because it can't keep up. I mean, it's probably essentially just an emulation, which, I mean, that's the question really when it comes down to it, is like, do we need this now because of how many ways you can emulate these games? I mean, whether it be on the Wii or the Wii U, or just going on your computer by itself and playing. I mean, I think
you get 30 games. You get 30 games on one console.
Yep.
And you get the controller.
I think so, yes.
So, and that and just being, because it's pretty small, right? It was
like in the size of his hand. It looked like this, essentially. It looked like a bigger, but essentially like as wide as it was, it looked like it fit in his hand.
Yeah, so
like it looks like it's the size of like a phone, but like maybe like bigger, like a box.
You get to go anywhere and plug that in and just have a good time. Cool. You know what I mean?
Cool. Like it had 2 controller slots, which means it does support co-op multiplayer, or like whatever games had multiplayer at the time.
I think it's totally worth it. And if it's under $100, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, it's just the comfort of it to go to your buddy's house and just plug that thing in, and then just be like, let's play a co-op game, like Super Mario World or something.
And even so, like when the thing that got me the best was the fact that, like I said before, like the list of games you're getting with it. Because like when I saw it, I was like, oh, these are gonna be all scrub games. Like it's all gonna be fucking like
just like weird like Space Invader knockoffs and stuff like that.
And first I didn't know it was Nintendo. When I first saw it, I didn't realize it was.
It seemed like a third party.
Yeah, I was like, this is something that I've seen before, where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's just some third party putting out like a Nintendo knockoff kind of thing. But no, like it's officially released by Nintendo, and like they went through. I saw a video when they went through all of the titles alphabetically through it, and I was like, oh. Now I kept being like, oh shit, like that's on there, that's cool. It's only Donkey Kong was on there, like the original Kirby.
Nice.
Was on there. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like the more I think about it, like the more like titles, I'm just like, shit, like these are fucking good titles.
Now, did they it's only NES titles. It's not Super Nintendo titles.
It was NES. I wonder, but that leaves the door
open.
They
do DLC for it? That'd be great if it's like pick up this USB and pump it in.
That's the thing that I'm wondering is it expandable?
Does it have a storage drive?
Yeah, does it have a storage drive? Does it
connect to the internet? That'd be great.
That's also a good option. Is it going to have like a Wi-Fi adapter so that you can either A, update it, or B, go on a store and say purchase another 30 games and then just download them to it? And there you go. You've got another, like, it could be like, yeah, this is Classic Pack 1. When's Classic Pack 2 comes out, it's like there's another 30 games. You got 60 games on this thing that you could just choose from. It's almost like it would be a good idea. And then for what you were saying before, I wonder if they are going to do the same thing with the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because the Super Nintendo is arguably one of the best consoles.
That's my favorite one, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's what most people say. Is like, people who grew up around the same time as us, like, will say the same thing. Like, I'm a little bit older than you, but like, most of my friends agree that the Super Nintendo is probably one of the best console generations. Because, like, I mean, there's so
it's like cool... PS1 to PS2, right? Like, PS2 is the favorite system. I'm sorry, but...
Yeah, PS2 is amazing. You'd be surprised. A lot of, especially RPG fans, like PS1 era the best.
I don't personally, but I mean,
then again, even that being said, most RPG fans will agree that Super Nintendo has a lot of the best games on it. Because I mean, like Final Fantasy 3, 4, and 5 were on there, and 6 technically, I guess. If whichever way you want to look at the weird numbering system. Like there's a ton, like the Legend of Mana games. Like there's like a ton of really big RPGs on there. Plus, like just like super fun, like Super Mario World. There's like just a million and one titles. I think the Super Nintendo would be the better system. I think we need this than the NES.
I think we need this too, because the only other option is you go and you emulate. And a lot of people put it on their console. They hack their console so they can do it, or they put it on their phones. It's just not comfortable. And when it does work, it's not strictly legal. I mean, unless you own the games.
One of those things that I agree with you for the sake of the fact that like it is one of those things that I could do this on my computer like that. You and I could just fucking go online, find an emulator, run it through our PC, plug in a controller, any controller, and just use it, right? And it'll work perfectly fine. But you're right in a sense that it's like, okay, like I don't feel terribly bad doing it, but like you're right. Like it's one of those things that you're like, this isn't necessarily legal, or is it? Like it's like kind of like one of those shady gray areas, and I don't even know if it is technically legal or illegal.
It's not. I've looked into it, and people can be held accountable if they don't own the game, because you're allowed to have a downloaded version of whatever you've purchased physically.
Yes, that is a thing. I've heard that before. So it's like you're allowed to have like a digital backup of it if you own it, because it's not technically but still, once again, like it's like how many people still own half of these games on Nintendo,
and to find them, and to find a working system,
and to find them that where they aren't super overpriced. Like trying to find, like I remember being as a kid, and I wish I could still find it. If I don't even know if I still have it anymore. I think it's probably long gone. But like I remember having the original Legend of Zelda for the NES on like the gold cartridge and stuff. Like from what I've heard from friends, like that's actually kind of like rare and like was worth money and stuff like that. Like maybe I don't know about now, but like
they've been going up in price now.
And that's the thing is like, I mean, people want to retro. It's funny to me though that like, because I still get people who come into the store who ask me if we carry like retro games and stuff like that. And it's one of those funny things that there are certain generations, like especially like NES and Super Nintendo, like people are still looking for games from that console era because they just, I don't know, there is something classic about them.
It's the nostalgia.
I don't know if it is just, it might just be nostalgia.
That and the ease of use too, because if you pick up
those games are pretty simple. It's pretty much just like jump in and go.
But they're challenging in the same sense too, that if you start playing those games a lot, they start to get more difficult.
Yes.
So it's to be able to get that and purchase it and plug it in and have it work, because I mean, when you do emulating of games, how often do you do that? I'll go on and I'll emulate a bunch of games in like a week and not do it for another year.
Yeah, I know. I get that for sure.
So being able to just be like, you know what? Plug it in.
I think the last time I fucking emulated anything would have probably been like, I had a kick where I wanted to play Pokemon, so I got like a GBA emulator and played Pokemon Fire Red, because like instead of going back and playing like the original Red, Fire Red was like a better version of the game. It was just a remake of it, but it ran better. And I think that's probably the last time I actually used an emulator to like play anything.
I emulated the old Mortal Kombat before MKX came out. Nice. On PS2.
Nice. I mean, and that's the thing is like I've seen emulators for a bunch of stuff, but like this is a good, like I mean, Nintendo was doing this a little bit in the first place, and I think Nintendo's kind of one of the best companies for doing this, at least right now, where it's like, even on Wii and Wii U, you have Virtual Console, where it's like, okay, you want to play your original Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, you can buy them on the Nintendo Store, the eShop or whatever it's called, and then you own them on your console, which is a great idea. I think that's a phenomenal idea. I think that's a great way to get back at those classic games, and like we were talking about, like own them them again.
You legally own 30 of the games,
and that's the thing. And like that's what the great thing about this thing is, like you're owning 30
support. There's support for these games now too, where if your system breaks or the machine doesn't work, you have
instead of just like having a fucking 30-year-old console that's just like, well, it's broken.
I mean, open it up and get some soldering going.
Yeah.
No more of that shit either, so that'll be great.
Hey.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if you were, that's the funniest thing is like, nobody in my generation, or everybody in my generation, I mean, like, remembers that, like, getting like a game for Nintendo and just being like, well, it doesn't work.
And
there it goes. That's better.
And if it was even if it didn't work that time, you blew out the console.
Yeah, you picked up the console and blew inside there. Yeah. No, that's funny. But no, like I said, it's a brilliant idea. And once again, I hope they support it. I hope they realize it'll probably sell well. Of course it will. Like I said, there's obviously demand. It's like you were talking about before. Like, I think there's the nostalgia, but I think there's just something about this era of games that was super special. Like, how many games are we playing nowadays that are even made by indie developers that emulate or at least look like
Binding of Isaac and like
Rogue Legacy,
Enter the Gungeon, or
all those games that use like pixel art and stuff like that. There's something, super special about those games. Like, there's just something really that we loved about those types of games. I just think it's something like it was an era of video games. I mean, for a lot of us, like I said, for people like us, we were growing up. So yes, there is a certain nostalgia factor. I just think there's a certain beauty in art too.
They're very engaging too.
I just think there's a certain beauty in art in the way those games look as well. Like, they just look nice. Because, like, I mean, yeah, we have games nowadays. Like, I mean, if you look at games like Dark Souls and like those games are absolutely stunning looking. But I mean, there was kind of a middle ground where games kind of looked cool but shitty at the same time, like PlayStation 1 N64 era.
They functioned, but they looked dumb,
like, I mean, look at Final Fantasy 7, one of the most beloved like RPGs of all times. You look at the graphics on the game, it looks like garbage. Absolute shit. I love that game to death, but look at Cloud, and he's got like weird stick bony fucking biceps, and he's got like these huge jutting Popeye forearms that go to block hands, and it's like those games were not visually like appealing. Like, they looked nice enough, but like that was like an awkward time in graphics. Like, whereas before, like right before that era, you're looking at like essentially Super Nintendo.
It's like watching a cartoon.
And it's almost like watching, or like I say, like the whole like pixel art look and stuff like that, or just like those kind of like animated looks. Like, yeah, they definitely looked nice. Or even like games like from like Aladdin and stuff like that. You remember like those like side-scrolling games? Like, they look like a cartoon. Like,
I missed that game actually, and that's why I wish it was
fucking hard, man.
I beat it. I wish it was NES.
Did you actually?
I beat Aladdin. I beat it like 3 times.
I don't believe you. You're a liar.
I'm not a liar. I beat it. I beat
that genie stage where you had to fucking jump over.
Yep.
Oh my god.
The lava and shit.
That part. I had that game on Sega. That game fucking drove me.
I had it on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
The other game I wished was coming to this console was which I have it on Wii U, is Super Mario World. That was my favorite.
That's Super Nintendo. Yeah,
that's Super.
And that's
Nintendo.
what I'm saying. Like, I hope like they do realize
they might just release another mini of Super Nintendo.
That's what I'm saying. Though. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is
even if they did that,
I hope they realize that this one does well enough that it warrants doing a Super Nintendo with the 30.
Then an N64.
Oh man,
that'd be great.
I mean, honestly, it's a cool idea. I mean, it can't cost them that much. It's not like they're doing that much development on it. Like, I mean, the hardware itself probably isn't that expensive.
They just need like a memory card to store the game on, and then a program to run it.
I picture it being like essentially just an empty box
with a USB inside.
Well, essentially all it really is, you know what a Raspberry Pi is, right?
Yep.
Essentially that all is all they need for a process.
Not even.
Yeah, I was gonna say for the processing that they would need to run. First of all, Nintendo and then Super Nintendo games. I mean, maybe an N64 game, but my phone can run N64 games now.
But now, if it's loading onto HDMI, then they're going to need a decent graphics card to output HD.
I don't even know if they are, to be honest. I wonder what it is outputting at. I didn't look into the specs. I don't even know if they've seen specs yet. I wonder what it outputs with, because I mean,
it would have to be HD. It would have to be HD.
Everything runs on HDMI nowadays. I just wonder what it is. Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully down the road we'll be talking about.
Wouldn't that be great if it did run on HD and it actually ran the games on HD, where it had a wide pan?
Hey, here's an idea. Maybe when it comes out, when we can buy one or split on one another, when we can do a Let's Play video of us like cruising through the top like 30 or something like that, or our top 10 favorites or whatever. That's not a bad idea.
Yep.
Keep your eyes open for that. Next topic, we are going to talk about. You want to do Marco Polo?
I'll do Marco Polo.
Okay, yeah, so
Marco Polo Season 2 came out on Netflix, and if you haven't been watching it, you should, because it's great.
Yeah. I haven't watched it yet. I need to.
No, totally.
Season 1, too. I haven't seen Season 1. My roommate watched the first season and said it was amazing, so I'm assuming Season 2.
People had some issues with Season 1 because a lot of the story arcs kind of strayed off. then came back.
Okay, explain to me for dummies, like, what's this show about?
Okay, so Marco Polo is following the story of Marco Polo, and it starts off...
Done.
Yeah.
Stop there.
Yeah, no.
Thanks for watching.
So, it starts with Marco Polo being on the Silk Road trading with his father. Yep. They show up to the Khans, Kublai Khan, which is, I think, the grandson of Genghis Khan.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so he ends up getting traded by his father to Genghis Khan so that he can get pretty much out alive.
Genghis or Kublai?
Kublai Khan, sorry. And he gets traded to him. And it pretty much follows the story...
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, he's dad's an asshole. So it pretty much follows the story of Marco Polo kind of climbing the ranks, helping out and not being trusted. And they call him Round Eyes and shit. It's hilarious. So he's climbing the ladder and eventually becomes, a big part of that story. But it's really not even about Marco Polo. It's more about It's more about Kublai Khan, his wife, his different sons. He has bastard sons. He has his son, Jingam.
Legitimate sons.
Yeah. And that's where this story kind of shines, is like one of his sons, like Jingam the Khan, super interesting. Yeah. Like super interesting. Like he gets so badass. He's pretty much like the son of Vikings, right?
Oh, where he's Bjorn.
You grow to be like, this guy's awesome.
This guy's gonna be fucking
and
great,
the fighting in it too, it gets me every time, because there's an old like crane kung fu master named 100 Eyes, and he's blind.
Okay.
And he teaches Marco Polo like kung fu.
Oh shit.
And Marco Polo, like, the choreography in this is just awesome. Like, I mean, it's like a high grade kung fu choreography. Sorry, I went British for a second for some reason. No, but he's trained to fight, and you see it, like, it's awesome. Like, it's like a high budget kung fu movie every episode.
That's pretty fun.
But the story is what shines, and it's like you want to hate the fact that he's a con, because you're like, he's a piece of shit, right? He's a con, and then it's like you just keep rooting for these people, and they just keep bringing in more characters, but
season 2
is about how Kublai Khan's right to the throne is being questioned by his, I think, brother or cousin or something.
Okay.
Because apparently they don't think it was legitimate how he got it, because they're like, you don't deserve the throne. So they do what's called a kurokai or kurotai. So it's pretty much following, like, they have to get ready. They're going to war with each other over the throne of the Khan and stuff. Marco Polo is helping out the Khan, and he's got his own subplots. I don't want to ruin it.
You're even saying, like, this second season didn't even really focus all that much on Marco Polo. No,
it kind of like weaves around and away from Marco Polo, and then it comes back in, and then it weaves away, and
it's like Game of Thrones almost.
Yeah, what they should have called this show wasn't. It shouldn't have been called Marco.
It should have been called, like, Khans.
It should have been called Kublai Khan. Yeah. That's what it should have been called. And Marco Polo could have been an additional character on it.
Yeah.
And then they could have done a spin-off called Marco Polo, because I have a feeling in season 3 he's going to become a more central character to the story.
Oh.
So, who's to say? But it's a very good show. It's very well done. Yeah. Season 2 fixed. If you had an issue with season 1, because I knew the reviews were kind of mixed about certain things. I can't even remember what they were, because I loved the show.
Yeah.
But season 2 has.
There were some people that had, like, complaints about it, though.
They had complaints that, like, the story was kind of slow at the start, and it is. But if you're okay with that, it's enjoyable.
Whatever. I mean,
yeah.
A 10 episode. Is it 10 episodes?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna watch a 10 episode series, you got to give it a little bit. Like, I mean, everything doesn't need to be like, first episode, let's do this. Like, I mean, you are in it for, it's not a movie, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be interesting within the first 20 minutes. Like, if you can get as long as you can get like 2 or 3 episodes in, generally speaking, I give like anything 2 or 3 episodes. If I can get into 2 or 3 episodes and by that point I'm hooked, or if I'm not, like, I mean, I'll kind of, but I mean, yeah, if you're 2 or 3 hours into something and it's not interesting yet, I mean, that's a different story. But
well, what's great though is when you watch those first 2 episodes, they may be slow, but you learn things a lot better that way. So then in the later episodes, they don't have to explain everything to you slowly. Like, oh, by the way, this guy was there during that time, and blah, 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 blah. No, fuck, no. Because they do that. They do that whole father scene. The father comes into play in season 2 again, Marco Polo's father. So you already know enough about him to know why Marco Polo is acting the way he is. Yeah. So you don't need this big backstory on it.
Dad.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, I don't think they ever did a flashback, like, oh, here's a flashback to season 1.
No,
they never had to do that. They didn't have to do that.
That's some anime bullshit right there. Animes are terrible for doing that, where they'll like flashback to episodes you just watched, and you're just like, thanks.
Why do you think I'm watching this? Chinese and Mongolian. Yeah, none of that fair. Japanese shit.
That's fair. in a weeaboo trash?
I don't know. I guess I've grown up watching a lot of kung fu movies, like a ridiculous amount. I don't know what it is. I love Chinese culture. Japanese culture just does not appeal to me.
Doesn't appeal to you?
It doesn't appeal to me. I know it's weird. I don't know.
That's interesting. I mean, well, yeah, like I said, I have been. It's on my list. I will watch it eventually. I've been very intrigued by it. Like I
watched Ip Man 3 as well.
Ip Man 3, yeah.
He fought Mike Tyson. It was pretty great.
Nice. That's hilarious. I don't think I've seen 3 yet. I've seen 1 and 2, but I don't know if
we were gonna watch 3. We did an episode on it.
That's right. We never did watch it because
I watched it because it's on Netflix now. Pretty great.
Right. What did I just? Oh, I watched Now You See Me on Netflix. That's right. It just popped up on Netflix.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
Why really they didn't call the sequel Now You Don't?
Right. What the fuck? You had a chance and you didn't take it. Bullshit.
You fucked up.
All right. Next topic, I think, is that...
Yeah, I'm good. Go watch Marco Polo because I want a season 3 and I need Netflix to have good stats, so go watch it, please.
Next up, excuse me, we're going to talk a bit about next season of Flash, which sounds super appealing to me. Sorry, guys.
Doesn't to me.
Yeah, fuck you.
Prejudiced bastards.
You're just butthurt.
Okay.
So anyway, watching The Flash, you know that Wally West has been a character in the last season, season 2.
Who's supposed to be Ginger? Yes, and they fucked it up.
But it makes sense considering the fact that the Joe West, who is the guy that adopts Barry Allen, is black in this show. So I mean, it makes sense that
you're right. If you ever get adopted by a black man, you will become black.
No, but his actual son, who is Wally West, is black. That's why they did that. Anyway,
he's supposed to have.
That's why Iris is black as well, because it's his daughter.
I don't care. There's enough black people in stuff that redhead.
Not enough gingers for
There's not enough. Okay, that's how it started. It started with there's too many white.
It's the fever.
There's too many white. There's too many white. There's too many white people, and then they're like, okay, well, we'll put more multi-diversity. They forgot one demographic. I got Ed Sheeran and Louis C.K. The fuck am I supposed to do with that?
That's so funny.
And they're taking my superheroes away.
You don't have any superheroos. Next they're going to do, what's his name? What's that Green Lantern?
Yeah, Guy Gardner. He's going to be an Asian.
They're going to make him like Latino or something. You're going to be like, oh, what the fuck? Like, this table. But yeah, anyway. So other than the fact that he's not a ginger, who cares?
I do.
At the end of the last season, or far into the season, if you haven't seen it yet, I mean, spoilers, but there is a scene where they're trying to, because like Barry has lost his powers at this point, and they're trying to like get them back, and they try to recreate the reactor explosion that gave him his powers, kind of.
I'm just imagining the original way that he got the powers, and they just like push a bookshelf with like chemicals on it, and they're just like, put your finger in the socket. It's like,
but essentially they did. They tried to like use the same chemicals that were like in his lab. They tried to like shock him. They tried to do because like in the show it's like a particle accelerator that explodes. That's part of what gives him, and like lightning strike, obviously. But anyway, so they try to recreate that, and then when it happens, there's like an explosion, obviously, and while Wally is supposed to be behind like the protective barrier of this like room, it's like a safe room kind of thing. He's obviously not in there because he's being a jackass, and he gets caught in the explosion. He gets knocked out for like a couple days, but then like he wakes up, but like there's nothing different about him. But like they obviously allude to the fact that that's probably going to be like, I mean, it's Wally West. Why wouldn't they? But now CW just released the first pictures of him in like the yellow and red
spandex
like suit and stuff like that, and it looks fucking cool. And like I was really looking forward to this because I'd really like the idea of having.
Oh, I love the character Kid Flash.
Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna call him Kid Flash because he's like younger than Barry, but only by like I think like a couple years or something. If that, he looks almost like the same age as Barry. So they start referring to him as Kid Flash. It'd be kind of funny. That, and they showed another dude in a shot from like a set, and it's like another speedster in like this really hardcore looking black suit, but it's not Professor Zoom, the one that was in like last season.
It's that black guy.
It's that black guy.
It's gonna be Black Flash.
Black Flash.
Are you Backlash? No, I'm Black Flash.
Black Flash. What are you saying?
What are you saying?
Backlash?
I'm super fast.
Why do you talk like that? No, but yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of the show like I am, I mean, this is super exciting. I just like the thought of them bringing in more speedsters and stuff like that, especially Wally West. I just wonder how they're going to have like a dynamic of him being on the show as well. If they're going to spin off to have him like having his own show, I kind of doubt that, but like what they're going to do.
I would like it is if he's only Kid Flash for like a bit.
And then they take away his powers.
And then they give a redhead.
And they give it to someone else, also named Wally West, who happens to be a ginger.
Yep.
You heard it here first, folks. That's how it's going to go down.
What if it did? Oh my God.
That was a Super G. What was the other thing we were going to talk about?
I was on a boat.
That is not the thing we were going to talk about.
I was drinking and I was on the boat. Now I'm here and I have to be up for 7 tomorrow. I can do it.
We can do it.
I can do it.
Remember, this is Up at Night podcast, so it tells you anything about when we record. There was a fourth thing we were going to talk about.
Was it a game? Was it a movie? Did you write it down?
Do I look?
'Cause I didn't write it down.
I look like I wrote it down. It was something to do with another TV show.
Oh, you were going to talk about how Constantine.
That's it. Yes.
Picked. Yeah.
I totally remember now. Okay, so cool information if you were a fan of the show Constantine, which I was a huge fan. Did you watch Constantine?
No, I watched the movie with, what's his name? Neo.
Yeah, the one.
The one.
Mr. Anderson.
John Wick.
I like that we can name all the characters.
Keanu Reeves.
Actually, you know what? That movie is not bad.
I liked it.
The only thing that's kind of not... I mean, and like it's a kind of blaring character difference, but like really the only difference between that movie, like when you actually read the Constantine comics, the only difference between him and the comic book version of that character is he's not British and he's not blonde. But like other than that, I thought Keanu Reeves like nailed the character. He's totally like an asshole to everybody. Like they got the smoking, they got the like the real like kind of hatred for everybody and everything that's around him, and like I thought they did a cool job of his like kind of indifference towards everybody. But anyway, the guy that played him on the TV show does a really good job, and like they nailed the character on the TV show in my opinion, because once again he's that character. He actually is British. First of all, he's blonde. He's like the interesting thing.
So they got it right. They represented that comic book character properly.
They didn't make him black.
They didn't make him black because fucking it's some stupid reason.
I hate you.
Here, okay, you know what? I want to talk about this because this is another issue, is that they've been changing all the Marvel characters to like women and black. Like, stop changing old ones and just make good new characters.
That's fair.
Why not do that?
Why take a character and
change a character? That's almost more racist than just making a good new character. Because to be like, well, you know, we have too many white characters or too many male characters. Let's just make him black now. That's almost insulting to the sense it's like, well, we have to cater to that group now. Why not make a good black character? Like,
or make a good female character?
Yeah, exactly. Like, fuck. Or when they take...
I kind of agree with your argument. I mean, it's like you said, like, why take Thor and turn him into a woman when you could just make a different character who is a woman?
Well, it's like Ghostbusters. They make 4 females for Ghostbusters. Their whole reasoning behind that was like, well, let's just swap it on its head and make all women. When you make a good series of TV
Except the first one, its whole point wasn't the fact that this is a team of all dudes.
No. And that's the thing is when you...
I read an article, or sorry to cut you off, but like I read a review and some guy called that movie just like the biggest pile of shit he's ever seen. And he said it was actually more sexist in the fact that it was... Now this is not my information. This is not my opinion of the movie or anything like that. But like, I read this dude's like thing online, and he said like it was more sexist because it was for women, because they were pointing out the fact that like they're just
catering to women.
They were catering to the fact that it was for women, and they said that like Chris Hemsworth character literally played like
just a dumb man,
just
blonde.
a dumb. Yeah, they called him a dumb blonde, essentially dumb blonde, like to imply the fact that like he was there just to be the dumb
eye candy
kind of thing that was there, and like. They said like the black character, the black lady, that there is like totally racist and stereotypical. It's like, now, like I said, I haven't watched it yet. I don't think we're gonna go see it, are we?
No, I'm gonna watch it by accident, probably.
By accident. I mean, like I said, I mean, I might watch it just to form my own opinion on it. But from what I heard, it's not doing well. It's not getting very good reviews.
Here's the thing: when you ever think of any good piece of film or cinema that's been awesome in later years, when they go to write that, they don't think, I'm gonna have an all-male cast, I'm gonna have an all-female cast, I'm gonna have an all-black cast.
Yeah.
They don't say that. They're like, I'm gonna make a cool characters for my story.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. I hate it. Stop changing old stuff. If you want to, I'm totally cool with new characters.
Yeah.
Like, they can be interesting.
And that's the thing too, is like I think we do need that at this point. Like you said, like instead of just recreating old characters and then turning a spin on it, like why don't we just make new characters? Because like, what's it called?
They did it with
Iron Man.
Yeah, Black Iron Man. There's like Black Girl Iron Man.
There's like young Black Girl who's Iron Man now, and it's like, okay. Now that being said,
that's a little different because she's taking the mantle.
Yes. I like that. That's
that's different.
In you know what, to put it, you know what, that's actually kind of a good way to do it. It's like, I don't know.
She's taking up the mantle. She's
not
the
mantle of it. Yeah, that's the thing. I guess Thor was kind of the same way, wasn't it? It's a new character, isn't it? Is she?
I'm not too sure. I didn't look into that, but I'm. It's just. Why even make them the identical character, though? You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Yeah. Like, why should it be like?
She doesn't have to be Thor. She could just be wield Mjolnir or whatever and be a new character.
Mjolnir
or
weird fucking.
She doesn't have to be Iron Man. She could be like fucking.
Well, because there is, and you're right. She doesn't need to be Iron Man in the sake that, like, because there is, what's his name, War Machine.
She just has to wear a robot suit. That's
she
literally all
she's a robot suit from Tony Stark. Like, I mean,
and have a different name entirely. She doesn't have to be Iron Man.
But that's the thing. I think that's just Marvel trying to cash in on the name, right?
I think Disney's just fucking everything up. So yeah.
Anyway, back to Constantine.
Here's our rant.
We got way around on that one. Anyway, so the whole topic that I was going to talk about was the fact that A, I love that show, and B, you should watch it. C, CW is a they put it up on their streaming service. I guess it's called Seed or something like that. It must be an online service of some sort that they have.
Sounds like a sperm donor like website.
If you want to get CW Seed,
go to seed.com.
Anyway, so they have it on there, and first of all, it's interesting to me because I didn't even know that CW had purchased it. I knew that they had some sort of partnership with it because of the fact that they had Constantine on Arrow once or twice.
I had a cool idea about this, and I remember we had talked about Constantine in an episode before, and you were saying, I don't think they renewed it for another season because it conflicts with Supernatural being a CW title.
Yeah, this is a good idea, actually. We were talking about this before the show, and I like the idea that you had.
What I think it is by putting it on the streaming service, it doesn't directly compete with Supernatural.
Like a time slot?
On a time slot, and it gives them the option to just release the whole season at once.
Like Netflix.
Like Netflix does.
Do an original. Yeah.
So
that'd be cool, like CW original. Here's Constantine, here's the whole season at once. Now, that being said, I wonder how they would do it because CW is more traditional American television where it's 24 or 23 episode seasons. Like they tend to do like the huge season. So I wonder if they would do it like a Netflix show or like an HBO show where it's like, here's 10 to 12 episodes all at once.
They could probably split it into half seasons, like half,
do something
like a half season, half the year.
Because MTV does that with their shows, I think, where they call it like season 1, 2, 3, but like they are like 10 to 12 episodes, and then like season 1 will be like 12 episodes, and then another 12 episodes like a couple months later, and that's season 1. It's 24 episodes, and then like season 2 is another 24 episodes, but they do it in 12 episode like story blocks almost, which would be interesting. Like I said,
we should keep our eye on this because
that'd be cool. But anyway, so like my thought process is the fact that I wonder if they're putting Constantine on their streaming thing to see how many people watch it, to see if there's any kind of
because it's
demand for the show to be revived. I honestly think there was, because I remember seeing when the show got canceled, it was one of the few times I saw like a show get a bunch of online attention. Like there was people on Twitter,
it's like Firefly,
Facebook. Well, I mean, Firefly, yes, for sure. That ended up getting a movie, obviously, because with Serenity. But I wonder if with that in mind, like I said, like I wonder if, like, because I remember being on Twitter and on Facebook and seeing stuff like Save Constantine hashtag, like, or like on Facebook seeing like share this article like as many people as you can to see if we can try and get like this renewed for a second season kind of thing. And like the creator or the director or whatever of the show like was saying like, yeah, get the name out there, because if studios see that shit, it's like we were talking about with the other one in the last episode, Young Justice. It just came out on Netflix. The creator said that like they see that, like networks will see that shit. They will see that people are watching it a lot, and they will take notice of it.
It's because TV and cable doesn't have a proper way of showing you viewership, because the only way there's
like the rating system.
No, their rating system, I think how it works is that they pay people like $1 to watch an episode or something. It's something stupid, like they sign up for a mailing service and they watch it at home. You have to sign up to be that viewer, so they pretty much document what you're watching.
Yeah, and but I think it has something to do with, if I'm not mistaken, it has something to do with like the cable companies, or at least the providers, like say like for us it's like Rogers and Bell. In the States it'd be like Comcast and like, you know, all them. They can tell to a certain degree what you're watching, at least to show what channel you're watching.
Not to the extent that Netflix does it, though.
No, Netflix has a direct, like, here's how many views this show has. Whereas, like, I know, like Bell and Rogers or whatever can probably tell or like, you know, the big ones in the States can probably tell, like, okay, at like between like 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Thursday night, we had 8 million people watching CW. So they're obviously watching that show's time block. So they can see to at least a certain degree how many people are watching.
There's a problem with that too, though, where, you know, people leave their TVs on.
Well, yeah, and that's why that's why the numbers are skewed. That's why I'm saying it's not perfect, but they have at least an idea of what they're...
It's just, it'll be so much nicer to have it on a proper streaming service where it's going to be documented.
Yeah,
so much easier.
That's fair. That's fair.
To see that, you know, people are watching Constantine. The problem is, who the fuck uses Seed?
Yeah, I don't even heard of it. I've never even heard of it before. So that's the only problem I have about that, is the fact that, yes, I've never heard of this streaming service before either. Now, it might be bigger because it might be in the States or something like that. Like,
hopefully Seed's
like
owned.
Hulu, right? Hulu is not, like, we can't use that at all here, but it's a big streaming service in the States. Same with Amazon Prime.
Netflix has CW titles, so hopefully Constantine, because it's on Seed, will be coming to Netflix.
Will be coming to it'll be coming,
because a lot of those things, like Show Me shares a lot of Rogers titles, and like, is it not Crackle, but some Crackle stuff.
They show
on Netflix.
a lot of like FX and like stuff like
FX.
Like,
what's the other streaming service? There's another streaming service.
I know. Yeah,
Crackle. Not Crackle. The other one. Starts with a C. Anyways,
you're thinking of Crunchyroll, are you?
No, Crunchyroll's the anime one.
Anime.
No, I wouldn't be watching that.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I remember.
Yeah. There's another one. There's another streaming service, and a lot of its content shows up on Show Me because it's both owned by Rogers.
Ah, yes.
So.
Yeah, Show Me's interesting because like they do have a decent lineup of shows.
I feel like they're a decent competitor to Netflix.
Yeah, at least
like they have some things they need to fix.
They're getting there. They don't have the same kind of level that Netflix has.
They need autoplay. They need to remember my damn place in my episodes.
Yeah. And that's what I think though. Like, but that stuff is stuff that evolved over time with Netflix, where it's like I think Show Me will eventually kind of get there
after complaints.
Well, it's just gonna be like this is like it's pretty new. But like you gotta think like Netflix used to be. Remember when people used to complain about the fact that Netflix would eat up all their data because they would fall asleep watching a show and autoplay would just like play for 8 hours straight while they slept, and then they'd wake up and be like, oh, I just streamed 8 hours of HD fucking things and I just used up like, you know,
they're a big reason why we have unlimited again was Netflix.
Probably, yeah, that's true. I mean, for the longest time, remember we used to never have we used to have unlimited, and then when internet speed started moving up, we stopped.
And the demand for internet,
internet stopped being unlimited in Canada, at least for a lot of providers.
Pretty much when Netflix and online gaming started using download services.
Yeah, I was to say, but I mean, in this day and age, we need unlimited bandwidth. Like, I'm sorry, like it's just ridiculous to think like. For us to have not unlimited bandwidth, like in this day and age.
It's like you don't have a limit on
literally everything. Everything we own is our phones, our computers, our TVs, our fucking game consoles. Everything is connected. Our tablets, everything's connected to the internet.
You don't have a limit on water. You don't have a limit on electricity.
Yeah.
Like if you pay your month,
pay for it, but
you pay for it, right? So it's the same with internet. It should just be a constant stream of internet to your house as long as you pay your bill for a month.
Fuck yeah, I know.
Which it is. I mean, you just have to pay a ridiculous price, and I think that's why they did it. They're like, well, we can't keep giving you this unlimited internet because we've been doing it for years anyways, but we can't. So give us a little bit more money. Okay, you're paying me more? Cool. Okay. Yeah, I guess I can do it.
That is one thing that I hope that eventually starts happening in Canada, is that we start seeing some lower rates and better like competitive prices for. That was the thing that pissed me off when it was like, who was trying to get into Canada? Was it Sprint?
I think so.
Or Next? It was like one of those.
It was Sprint. Sprint had trouble because I remember.
But then they got blocked by Bell and Rogers because you know exactly why.
Their competition.
Because as soon as Sprint got into this country, other companies would start to as well. But then I guarantee a company like Sprint would have been like, guess what? You want unlimited in bandwidth with like, I don't know, 100 to 200 download speeds? $50.
Yeah.
Bell and Rogers would have been shitting their pants because they charge double that for that kind of shit, right? More than that sometimes. Because in the States, from what I've heard from like people like that I know down there, like it's cell phones and internet are way cheaper because there's so many more competitors in the States. And I mean, just look at like, do we have two main companies here and they have control over everything? Bell and Rogers control everything when it comes to cell phones and internet. Like they own all the towers, they own all the lines, they own everything. And that's the biggest problem, especially Bell. That's the biggest problem with this country is the fact that like it's essentially a monopoly. They have a monopoly on everything internet and phone based, so they can do whatever the fuck they feel.
Well, did you ever notice too that like Rogers has the better internet and like cable prices, but Bell has the better phone prices
and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, I would never go back to Bell for internet.
Bell internet is garbage. I've had it. I remember you'd be up at like 12 o'clock at night and it would just turn off, and you'd be like, "What is going on? I can't connect." And then you'd reconnect, and your speeds would just plummet anytime that lots of people were on.
I was okay. So before. But when I lived at my parents' place, you know where that was, right?
Yeah.
So that's in the middle of town. That's not in the middle of. That's not rural. It's rural. It's in the middle of fucking town. Bell told me the fastest speed they could offer me in my area was 5 megabytes down.
No,
5.
They're full of shit.
That's the best speed they could offer me. I called Rogers literally the same night and was like, "Hey, what can you offer me?" And they're like, "Up to 250 if you want it." And I was like, cool, sign me up, like, or whatever I ended up signing up for at that time. But like, still, it was one of those things that I was like, this is such bullshit. Like,
and Rogers is just phenomenal to deal with too.
Because we're ranting now at this point.
That's why you're here.
That's why you're here, I guess. Yeah, that's kind of true. But I mean, that's the thing is like, I can't believe that people, like, I know a lot of people that live outside of the town. Like,
people only go to Bell for 2 reasons. They can't afford Rogers.
Yeah.
Or they can't get Rogers.
Yeah, they can't get it in their area.
Like,
that's fair.
That's it. That's the only reason. Yeah. Like, Rogers...
The only thing I like better for Bell is their satellite. I don't like Rogers TV.
Yeah, but I don't watch cable. So I don't
shit. I just grew up with Bell Satellite.
Bell Satellite is nice.
It's nice. It's a lot nicer. I like the satellite dish stuff better than the cable. I think the Rogers cable kind of sucks.
I like the movie networks too. I don't know who has those. Who owns those?
I think Bell has all that.
Yeah, stuff. Those are good.
Anyway, you've listened to us rant long enough.
I think that's it. We got a new gameplay video coming up Monday.
Yeah. So keep your eye open for that. We will.
One of them. Just one of your eyes. Just.
If you're a pirate, just arr. So yeah, keep your eyes open for the video. It should be on Monday. It'll be coming out, and we're gonna we did another video for Emily Wants to Play. We did a lot better this time
because we educated ourselves on how to actually play the game.
How the game actually plays. Probably would have been funnier just to watch us fucking screw around for another 15, 20
No, that'll be the next horror game we play.
Yeah, because I guess that's true. That's probably how it's gonna go. Anyway, yeah. So. Don't forget to like,
subscribe,
and share. And
put us everywhere.
Put us everywhere. Put us all over the place.
Under the internet.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.
See ya.